My report will be on several accomplished individuals who have been inducted into the Music Educators Hall of Fame and one unique individual I feel should be in the Hall of Fame. I will list their birth and death dates, accomplishments, and their major contributions to music education. I will begin my report with a lady who had a profound impact on music education. Mabel Glenn was born in a frame house on March 5th, 1881, in Juanita, a little western Illinois town settled by Scotch pioneers from Juanita, New York. Glenn was named by her sister Ida at birth. Mabel Glenn received her Bachelor's of Music from Monmouth College in 1908 and an honorary doctorate from Chicago Musical College in 1930. Glenn was a well-known writer, and her most recognized publication contributions were credited to her two textbook series, The World of Music and Our Singing World. Glenn was also known for developing a complete music curriculum. She was also responsible for establishing students receiving school credit for taking private music instruction and starting school piano classes. Glenn was a major contributor to the Child's Bills of Rights. In 1928, Mabel Glenn became president of the Music Supervisors National Conference. Under her leadership, as well as in other administrative positions, she led the organization to become more influential and powerful than it had been under any of her predecessors. Mabel Glenn died August 28, 1969, in La Jolla, California. The next member of the Hall of Fame was a music educator who created a band program that served as a model for other marching bands. William Patrick Foster, born August 25, 1919, in Kansas City, Kansas, also known as the Law, became director of bands at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, also known as FAMU, with just 16 members, June 1, 1946. He created what is known today as the most imitated marching band in America, which is also known as the Marching 100. He is credited with revolutionizing marching band techniques and reshaping the world's concept of the collegiate marching band for other music educators to follow. His book, Band Pageantry, is considered to be the Bible for the marching band, which many music educators still organize their band programs with today. Under his leadership, the FAMU Marching Band was presented the Sutler Intercollegiate Marching Band Trophy. The Marching 100 became the fourth recipient and the first historically black university to receive the trophy. This award is the highest honor a collegiate marching band can receive. My senior year in high school, I wrote to Mr. Foster about attending FAMU to be a member of the marching band. He wrote me back 3 weeks later stating that before I could be a member of the marching band, I must first qualify to be in the concert band, and that based on the recommendation I received from my high school band director, he would like for me to come to Tallahassee, Florida for an audition. As a child, I was so happy to receive a letter from one of the most accomplished band directors in the country. I shared the letter with my fellow band members and showed it to any teacher that was willing to view it. Dr. William P. Foster's list of accomplishments are too long to list but can be viewed by looking at this slide. Dr. William P. Foster died August 28, 2010, in Tallahassee, Florida. The next member discussed is Luther Mason. Luther Whiting Mason was born in Turner, Maine on April 3, 1818. Luther Whiting married Hannah Allen and had 3 children, Catherine Mason, Virginia Mason, and Son Mason. Luther was an advocate for rote singing and was a prominent figure in introducing it into American music education by writing a series of literature that was considered the standard music teaching literature from coast to coast. In 1880, he was hired by the government of Japan as a foreign advisor to introduce Western music into the Japanese educational curriculum and to help form a music curriculum for public schools. Mason died in Buckfield, July 14, 1896, at the age of 78. Although he is not a member of the Music Educators Hall of Fame, I feel his contributions to music education and his list of accomplishments justify his place among these champions of education. Conrad Hutchinson Jr., born October 25, 1919, former band director at Grambling State University, arrived at Grambling in 1952. He had a plan to make the Grambling College Marching Band the best in the land. It did not happen overnight, and it certainly was not easy. Conrad Hutchinson is widely credited for being the first band director to incorporate dance routines into the field show. He opened the doors for other music educators to get their bands to be commercialized, how to achieve notoriety, and how to plan for performances on the national stage and in other countries. Because of Hutchinson, Grambling is easily recognized as the most famous band on the planet, hence their nickname, World Fame, and can be viewed on television in many commercials. Under Hutchinson, Grambling's band have performed in every major stadium in the country and has performed for several presidents. World Fame is the only band in the NCAA Hall of Fame. January 3, 1972, Conrad Hutchinson took the band to Monrovia, Liberia, where they performed at the inauguration of Liberian President William R. Tolbert. Accompanied by First Lady Pat Nixon, the 150-member marching unit performed songs such as I'll Be There and the Battle Hymn of the Republic. When the old AFL and NFL football organizations decided to stage Super Bowl I, they realized that a band was required for halftime. Grambling was the band chosen, and the rest was history, as Hutchinson led Grambling to be the first band ever selected to play in the first Super Bowl. On Sunday, July 8, 1990, as a sophomore in high school, I arrived at Grambling Summer Band Camp. Campers were not scheduled to arrive until 10 o'clock a.m., but I arrived at 8 a.m. and went straight to the band director's office where I met Conrad Hutchinson. As I stood there in awe of Mr. Hutchinson, I handed him my camp fee, a blank money order for $275. He looked at me and in a strong, authoritative voice said, "Son, this is not how you take care of business. A person could rob you blind. You have to be smart about who you give your money to and how you do it." He opened his desk and pulled out a black ink pen, sat me down, and showed me the correct way to fill out a check and money order. That action epitomizes the type of man Conrad Hutchinson was. On March 5, 1996, at 2:10 a.m., Conrad Hutchinson Jr. left this earth to join his Heavenly Father. He leaves behind his wife, Jeanette Hutchinson, 4 children, Conrad III, David Eugene, Ann Wilson, and Raymond Keith. Conrad Hutchinson is buried at Grambling Memorial Garden in Grambling, Louisiana. The next gentleman discussed is Clarence C. Burchard. Mr. Clarence C. Burchard, a humble man, was born in Cambridge, Pennsylvania, June 13, 1869. He was the founder and president of the Boston Music and Textbook Publishing Company. He was also the superintendent of the music department of the American Book Company and head of the music department of Ginn & Company. Mr. Burchard was a pioneer in the community singing movement and published several million copies of a collection of community songs. Burchard was largely responsible for introducing singing books like the works of Luther Mason into the public schools. His philosophy was, we should teach music not to make musicians, but to make better Americans. Clarence C. Burchard died in his home, 1946, in Carlisle, Massachusetts.